I was out there looking for something interesting to read on Reddit, and I have to say it's my first time actually using this site for anything. I've had an account for years, but I never actually used it for anything. Never had a reason to. But lately, I've been bored because I can no longer sit on Twitter and just mindlessly scroll through rage bait all day because I gave it up. I gave it up because, you know, I figured it would help my mood if I wasn't staring all day long at posts that were specifically cooked up in a lab to make me pissed off. So I quit social media, but I still have a job to do. Quite a pickle. And I know what you're thinking. You went to Reddit to stop reading things that make you mad? Yes. Yes, I did. You'll wonder to yourself, I thought he was supposed to be smart. He's always acting like he's smart. Okay, first off, I never said I was smart. I said I was smart, which is when you think you're smart, regardless of all the evidence to the contrary. I went to Reddit because I was looking for ideas about topics that would get my hackles up, you know, trigger my fight or flight instinct, which would then trigger me to write a think piece to defend my frail, unable to get up the steps, old man ego and biases. And as soon as I logged into Reddit, the first thing I saw was a post criticizing me. Yo boy, I don't know what I did to the Reddit algorithm to make it this pissed off at me, but this is like a hyper-specific targeted hate crime against me. Who do I go to? Where do I turn? You know, what do I do about this? How do I right this wrong? You know, I've never had to deal with this before. So I called the police and they told me they don't handle that kind of thing. I do know one thing, however, when it comes to trolling, you gotta be like Stalin with these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? You gotta take down names, you know? Set the black bags loose and round up all the dissidents. Because if you don't do something about this, there could be something of a full-scale revolt that you got on your hands, you know? And this post, this titan of a post, man, it could just end up creating more of these people. And before you know it, I've got a torrent of people coming to my videos posting a bunch of nonsense. And then before you know it, I'll be fucking rich.
Fellas, if you got 20 haters, you need 40 of them motherfuckers. What is you complaining about?
But I gotta confess, you know, I was a little scared to go inside, you know? Like when you were a kid and you wake up in the middle of the night because you hear a sound coming from your mom's bedroom, right? So you go out into the hallway and you kind of tiptoe down the hall, avoiding all of the floorboards that squeak and creak, right? And then you get to the door and you're standing face to face with it and you got your hand hovering right over the doorknob, right? And you're scared to open it because you can hear her on the other side of that door getting absolutely railed by your dad. And some survival instinct kicks in and stops you from turning that doorknob, right? Because you're sure that whatever is going on the other side of that door, you'll never be able to unsee it. But you're scared because you're wondering if he's hurting her because she's on the other side of that door screaming her lungs out, you know? But you're comforted by the fact that she seems to be consenting to it over and over and over again. Anyway, enough about my past. I have to say that I'm ashamed to admit this. This post got me pretty mad. Yeah. And here I was looking for something to take my mind off of how shitty things are. And my only friend, technology, comes up to me and says, "Hey, Caesar, can I show you this knife I just bought?" So anyway, I eventually clicked on this house of horrors. And you know what? Wasn't that bad. Yeah, most of the arguments were unspecific enough that if I cherry picked them, I could, in bad faith, of course, rebut a lot of these. Oh, wait, hang on. Rebut is short for rebuttal, and it means to make a claim or prove that evidence or an accusation is false, right? I'm not trying to be condescending, you know? Just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. All right. But sometimes I respond to a comment and I find out later on that we're not on the same page, and now I have to figure out a way to sound like I was being sarcastic. Anyway, so let's start all this with the most upvoted response, shall we? Why is Todd on the thumbnail when he didn't even work on the game? This is the easiest question to answer, and I thank you for it. And before I begin, I just want to point out that this was the most upvoted response at the time. Not sending their best, folks. Something I am very keen on is behavioral psychology, what we do and why we do it. Research has shown that if you put eyes staring back at you on a screen somewhere, your eyes will be automatically drawn to it. You have to take conscious effort not to look at the eyes, because you're being urged by every fiber of your being, every evolved instinct, to look at those eyes, to take acknowledgement of them, just like you would with a tiger hiding in the bushes ready to pounce on you. Have you ever gotten a feeling that you're being watched, and then you turn around to see that you were in fact being watched? And then you think to yourself, is this my superhero origin story? Nah, man, that's just the survival instincts working as intended. The second reason is brand recognition. If you've never heard of ESO, you have likely heard of Todd Howard, and it will remind you of Morrowind or Oblivion or Skyrim or whatever Bethesda game you grew up with. And because of that, it's going to generate clicks. And that is the entire point of a thumbnail, to generate clicks. Also, I got you to click on it because you were probably mad as shit, screaming at your screen. Todd didn't even work on it, you idiot, with your bald head and your piercing hazel eyes. I hate you. Stop making me think gay thoughts. Now, I say all of that, and it sounds like I have very deep and complex reasons for doing everything that I did, but the reality is, I just thought it was funny. You know? Like, did you really think I didn't know that ZeniMax is a different company than Bethesda? I mean, if it'll make you guys more angry and generate more hate, then yes. Trust me, guys, I had no fucking idea. I can't argue with angry. I mean, have you ever tried to argue with angry? You can't do it. It's like talking to a vegetable, you know? There's no brainwave activity going on over here. It's just this null void of white noise in the form of a face. What's at stake here? Like, are you mad because you just now found out that other people don't have to like the same shit that you like? Like, does object permanence still confuse you too? Look at this. Oh, am I there? Am I still here? Peekaboo! Oh, look at me, look at you. You can't see me. I've disappeared. Now I'm here again. Who's a good boy? You are. You ever wonder why me having an opinion you don't like makes you so angry? Is it because you think you have the objectively right opinion on something? Because I do. Let's stick with this idea that you have objectivity in video game reviews. If you think that that's the only thing that should be a part of a video game review, then do me a favor, go to your kitchen, go to the kitchen table, and if you don't have a table, just grab the nearest empty box, flip that bitch over, and bam, you got yourself a fucking table. You're welcome. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down all the stuff that you want to say to me. Record yourself saying it, and remember, keep up the pace, all right? Don't let it drag. You know, get animated with it. Just speak really, really fast, and then nobody will know that you made a mistake. I do it all the time, trust me. It works. And then upload that bitch to YouTube and call your channel some crazy shit like Strat-Edgy or I hate with an H Strat. And we'll battle it out, you know? See who the court of public opinion agrees with the most. But guess what? Here's a secret. I actually don't give a shit if I win because I want the money. The sweet money. Do you know how much money YouTube drama pays out, my dude? It's fucking awesome. We could be rich. Like, come on, man. Me and you to the fucking top. Here's what we'll do, right? We'll start out hating one another, and then later on, you'll come to love me, and I'll come to love you, and it'll be a whole character arc, man. It'll be fucking awesome. But at first, you'll call me like a closeted homo, and I'll comment on the slope of your forehead and break out the calipers like that one crazy uncle you have does every Thanksgiving. And let me tell you, dog, that's when we've made it, man. Champagne, caviar, cognac, and fresh, delicious Coke. It's all the cool C's, man. Let's come back to that phrase, objective opinion. Now, this is a straw man that I just plucked right out of the air, and I'm fairly sure no one in that Reddit thread actually brought it up, not even once, but I swear to you, I heard a guy say it once, so take my word for it, I never lie. The reality is that a lot of people used to say this shit, and it used to drive me up a fucking wall. You know, it was always in response to like reviewers like Stephanie Sterling and guys like H-Bomber Guy, and there was this idea that all reviews needed to be objective facts. And when you had all these reviewers for Marvel and Star Wars content out there claiming that they were the arbiters of truth, and in reality, it just turns out their videos were just full of assumptions, reaching and gasp opinions. Turns out that it's really hard to make objective facts entertaining. Just ask a journalist someday why their medium is dying while cable news is thriving. We already know what an opinion is, right? It's that thing that makes us angry. Objectivity is the ability to represent facts. Facts that are not influenced by personal feelings or opinions. That is the definition of the word. So, you're saying what? What? You want something to be a version of itself that it can't possibly be? You know, you're asking too much of a motherfucker. I can't split the atom with my fucking mind, dude, let alone give you an opinion objectively. And I've heard the word objective thrown around a lot. You should be a little subjective and a little objective. And I gotta ask, what does objectivity have to do with liking a fucking game? Do you listen to a review just to hear about the mechanics, or do you want to know if the reviewer liked or disliked the game at the end of the day? What about graphics? How do you judge graphics objectively? Like, I'd like to know this fucking magic trick because I see some graphics and I say to myself, that looks like hot ass. And someone else will see that shit and be like, that's how games are meant to look like. Aesthetics are completely subjective. You cannot judge them objectively. What about artistic competency? Again, just because you think something looks like shit does not mean that the artist didn't accomplish the goals that they set out to accomplish. There are some people who like impressionist art, some people who like surrealist art, and then there are other people who hate those arts. Does that mean that that art is shit? No, it means to that guy over there, that shit is shit. And this shit over here is good shit. You understand how this fucking works? Like, some art is there to repulse you. You know, if it did repulse you, then I say it did what it was supposed to do. And you might say it's shit. Who's right? I am, of course. I'm always right. Isn't that the whole point? Just because a jumping animation plays when I press a button does not make it a good mechanic simply because it functions. Good or bad is a judgment based on opinion, because in some people's opinion, it should be against the law to punch people in the face, and I say that sounds like something a guy who got punched in the face would say. Here's my impression of an objective reviewer. Hi, my name is Raul Rodriguez Sanchez Rojas, and God of War is a single-player game. You press a button to attack and man on screen make other mans go away. Thank you for watching. So we're advocating for what? Taking the fun out of YouTube videos now? We only want objectivity. We don't want theories or feelings anymore. Oddly enough, look, I agree with you, man. That shit's for girls. You know, we're truth tellers in this house. Need I remind you that YouTube was the best place to see videos like this?
That's not a Pokemon. That's a gay Luigi. Now go away.
But listen, man, I actually agree with you. I'm a huge facts kind of guy, you know? Facts don't care about your feelings, man. That's what I'm always saying, you know? When I hear an opinion I don't like, I just start yelling at the people who live inside my television screen to make sure that they know the real facts. I actually only do this YouTube opinion guy shit because, come here, get close. I'm lazy as f. And thinking is objectively hard. I mean, I don't know how to make a video that tells the story of a game beat by beat and describe the actions that the characters took or did not take, and at the end of the day say, that concludes my review of The Last of Us. Thanks for watching. I mean, that's what most of these reviews that all you people are watching do. They just go, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. There's no critique there. It's just describing shit that fucking happened. But look, it's true. In reality, you know, I hate opinions, okay? I only want facts, but not in my news, okay? I don't want facts in that shit. News is for entertainment, okay? That's why all the commercials now are for pills, because kids all have fucking ED now from masturbating too much. But as much as I hate to admit it, this one guy, Parashy, kind of has a point. Yo, is that Strat? The guy who pisses and moans when XYZ game doesn't fit his exact criteria for a good game, and by that, I mean he just shits on literally everything for not being Thief or a Thief clone. He did it with Dishonored too. Misrepresented and misinterpreted what the game was, the story it was trying to tell, and its gameplay. Eventually, he was strong-armed by his fan base into— what? Wait, what the f— I was strong-armed by my fan base into actually playing it on stream? But He went out of his way to find things to gripe about, up to and including the cursor, the fact that the guards somehow managed to see him despite making little to no effort to hide, etc. Ignore him. He's a prick, in essence. Wow, that's a good point, man. And this is where I have to admit something to you. And listen, okay? This isn't easy for me to say, because after hearing this, a lot of you know, may never be able to look at me the same way, and hell, I mean, some of you might even unsubscribe, but here we go. I was paid to say it. That's right. The Thief developers paid me to trash Dishonored, man. And I've gotten in bed with them, and we wait and we watch with anticipation at the inevitable rise of Looking Glass Studios as they claw their way like Jason Todd out of their own coffin and crawl out of the grave to take revenge on all those people who didn't pay proper respects. I'm taken care of. Have you paid proper respects to Thief? I mean, come on, dude. You have to admit, that game still has yet to be beaten in the sound department. I mean, come the fuck on. There's a reason I suck that game so much. It's because it tastes delicious. That's what we call a subjectively correct opinion. It exists, look it up. Oh, I made the mistake of going down a rabbit hole that is his channel. I would say that the game he worships the most isn't Thief, though. That would be Morrowind. Also, his awful video on the modern Fallout games where he calls their design insidious and then compares it to Orwell in 1984 is just next level delusional criticism. Guy is not only a prick, but a liar. And the worst thing is that a lot of people believe and support him. Now look, the truth is, I, like many of you, have
posted cringe.
And this is the one part of the video that I'm probably not being sarcastic in. I started this whole channel as a lark. You know, I never thought anyone was gonna see it. I hadn't written a essay since my high school debut, and that one wasn't very good. My teacher once said to me, "You have a real talent for writing." I was so high off of that compliment that it sustained me without food and water for weeks. But I later realized by the tone of his voice that he was being sarcastic. It's a shame that I only realized that like 20 minutes ago. Would have saved me decades pursuing a dream I never had the talent for. So yeah, I honestly don't know why I hold on to those videos. I'm like a hoarder who can't let go of the finger paintings he did when he was 2, you know? But what if I need them? I can't watch them anymore because my cringe tolerance has been lowered, and if I ingest that much cringe all at one time, I will literally fucking overdose. And I'm pretty sure no one else can get through them either. I mean, it might just be time to put away old things, you know? I obviously cannot play in the big boys facts over feelings game, so maybe it's time to start being more objective. That's why I'm redoing my Dishonored review, this time with 100% more objectivity in every bite. All right, here we go. Dishonored is a game. You move around by pressing one of 4 directions, and in what I think is a clever little twist, if you hold up and left, you'll move in a diagonal. Your character has powers. You can teleport. You can stab someone. And if you stab them, they die. But if they see you first and you stab them afterward, they don't die. There are enemies in the game, and some are programmed to attack you if you come within sight cone and distance of the enemy's program variables. But again, in another twist, some people don't attack you. Some of them will even talk to you. There are missions. You have to load into an area when you want to be in it. It's a game mechanic that you'll be interacting with a lot. And that concludes my Dishonored review. Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe for more content to fill the gaping, unsatisfied hole in your heart that begs for you to improve yourself. Try something new. Jerk off with your non-dominant hand. Anything to divert you from the monotony of modern life. Damn, you know what? I think you guys got a fucking point, man. That was easy. I should do this shit more often. What do you think of the new Dishonored review, huh? Did I nail it? Post a comment below to let me know what you think. I value the feedback of the community. And there's a lot of really good points being discussed in the thread, like, isn't that guy a grifter? Yes. Thank you for taking an interest in my hobbies. If only my parents paid that kind of attention to me, I wouldn't be seeking the validation of people from the internet. If this is about ESO's monetization, ESO has the least shitty monetization scheme I've ever seen in an MMO. Honestly, looking at the thumbnail, I bet his points are superficial and have absolutely jack shit to do with any of the game's issues that's killing the game. Wow. Didn't your mom ever tell you not to judge a book by its cover, man? Because my mom definitely told me to judge a book by its cover, and also by the color of its skin. And that's it. That's all of them. You know, it's a shame that there weren't more comments, you know? I would have liked to have had a healthy debate, but frankly, it's all rather surface level stuff, you know? His armpits probably stink. What's it like living in your mother's basement? I bet he has a small penis. And these are all really good points, but shut your mouth. How can you say I go about things the wrong way? I'm human and I need to be loved just like everyone else does. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Okay, time to go. Bye-bye. Okay, are they gone? All right, let's get real. You probably already know this, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in this YouTube game. Nope, not even a little bit. Never have, never did. I'm not the kind of guy who knows things, you know? I'm more of a kind of go with the flow kind of guy, you know? I'm a dude in an inner tube with a Mai Tai floating down a fucking lazy river. That's what I am, you know? I kind of just go wherever the inspiration takes me. I just do whatever gets me excited in the morning to open up a Word document and vomit a bunch of opinions into the void, you know? And frankly, I'm pretty fucking lucky that this many people actually give enough of a shit about that opinion to watch me and support me for so many years. But it is time that I start cleaning up around here because the house is a fucking mess. See, my workflow when I started doing all this was, and I shit you not, this is really what I used to do. I would go out to a writing prompt list and I had this list of like philosophical questions that I would go down and I would pick one and I would think about what game could I write a video about that fits that philosophical question. And sometimes it worked out really well and other times it worked out great. Like that time I compared Bethesda games to an Orwellian nightmare. Yeah, that was cringe in its purest form, but some people liked it. And the people who liked it really liked it because it seemed to be my goal in life to whittle my audience down to 3 guys and myself who all share the same brain cell. I guess that video was me trying to express what I had grown to dislike about modern gaming. That was the dependence on dopamine loops and regular intervals. I missed the challenge in video games, you know, because at that time when I wrote that, video game companies were known for holding the hands of players and really making sure that they don't inconvenience them with failure. So everything was just mediocre, plain, and there was no challenge, no sense of accomplishment, nothing. And I realized that this was why I hadn't been able to play Fallout 3 since I played it the first time, because it lacked everything that New Vegas had. It was like a heavy contrast in a black and white photo, you know? If the picture was all black, I probably would have stayed like in Fallout 3 and everything would have been hunky-dory, but I had contrasting lines to compare it against, and the picture became clear. I didn't know why I felt as strongly as I did. I now know why. I need only look around at the world of people barely awake, sleepwalking through life with their faces buried in fucking devices, sucking on a tit full of dopamine. It's the reason the state of the world is this way. Entertainment has always served as a way to soothe the population into compliance, but now it's borderline fucking weaponized. While we were asleep, our country got stolen. And I think in a way, that's what I was worried about, but I was too stupid or just plain too fucking ignorant to express it. The whole thing was 100% my emotions on paper, and oh my god, the way I narrated it makes me want to punch myself in the face. I hear this criticism a lot about that ESO video. The biggest problem with the video is that the guy doesn't seem to understand ESO as an MMO. Bitch, I was playing EverQuest on a dial-up modem while you were in between an embryo and a fucking unfortunate stain on a mattress. I don't like MMOs because they never evolved out of their infancy. EverQuest was the way it was because of a severe lack of technology. But as tech evolved, the genre stayed the same. It tried to evolve like Asheron's Call and games like that, but as soon as WoW came out, they just stopped. All of the MMOs that came out around that time became Xerox copies of WoW. You know, the genre stopped evolving. That's why I like PoE so much. It is an MMO. I don't care what anyone says. It's an MMO that you could just opt out of the social element. Now, to his second point, I hate Bethesda. I hear this a lot because when you criticize something, people assume that you hate it. And it's like, bro, do you know how strong your feelings have to be towards something in order to spend months of your lives examining it, playing through it, taking down notes, researching mechanics, comparing and contrasting them against other games like it, playing those games, archiving the footage, recording narrative, and spend a week, sometimes two, sitting in a tiny sound booth editing a video? I mean, the entire purpose of critique is to make the product better because a critic is supposed to care deeply for the medium they critique. If they want the medium to die or hate the artist, that irrationality comes out in their work. But if you put blinders on and decide to dismiss somebody's opinion simply because you don't agree with it, then you've elected to live in a bubble. No one decided that for you. Your exile was your own doing. Remember, the enemy of free thought is a closed mind. But on to your question directly, do I hate Bethesda? Nah, dickhead. I love Bethesda. I thought that the company would evolve their formula and not water it down for the mass audience. They made some of my favorite games like Daggerfall, Morrowind. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I mention Morrowind? Oh, Oblivion and the other game. What's that game called? It's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember it. Redguard. See, Bethesda was so ahead of its competition when they released Daggerfall that it was frankly a mind-blowing game. I'd never seen anything the size of that. It was the first time for me, at least, seeing a massive open world to explore in the first person with action combat. Like, it was my wet dream specifically. The kind of game I used to lie awake in bed dreaming about. The next logical step should have been to perfect that tech and take their simulation further, because even though that world was large and impressive, there wasn't anything going on within it. I had hoped for more RPG elements, new systems, and a better simulation. I didn't expect Morrowind, to be frank. I wanted something else, and because I got Morrowind instead, I actually refused to play it. I was disappointed in what we got. I think I said something akin to, what I wanted was more Daggerfall and what I got was a tiny island. That should tell you just how much more refined my taste have gotten over the years. See, my wife loves ESO. She's got over 1,000 hours, and it might even be 2,000 by now, and she literally has only played one other game before. Well, two. Disco Elysium and World of Warcraft. I, for contrast, don't have more than 500 hours in even my favorite game. Who knows what my opinion of ESO will be in the future? Maybe I'll discover what my wife has. Maybe I'll just grow to hate it more. Who knows what the future holds? Our experience with a game is informed by our experiences with other games. If we don't like a game, it's usually one of several reasons. It's buggy, it's clunky, or XYZ game did it better. It's helpful to compare two things that are alike against one another. In fact, there's a whole essay structure made just for that purpose called the triadic structure. You take your thesis argument, contrast it against your antithesis, and provide an example of something that combines all of the aspects of both your antithesis and your thesis, and you call that a synthesis, right? It helps you see all sides of a criticism and see what something could have been if it had combined the strengths of both the thesis and the antithesis. You don't have to compare two things, but when you are, for instance, explaining why a game mechanic is bad, it's easier for the audience to understand your argument if you have an example of a game that did the mechanic right. Don't even get me started on our attention span. Stop the video a minute in to scroll down into the comments and find out what the point of this was. Okay, could anyone with a better grasp of machine gun English explain the strategy stance in one sentence? You sound like you really overthink things. I don't understand the point of the video. I'm gonna tell you a story, and it's probably gonna seem like a brag, but it might explain to you why I used to write the way I used to and why I don't write that way anymore. I was dating somebody who believed herself to be an actress, and she was going to a workshop with a guy named Ken Yulo. As I often do, I looked the guy up to see if he was qualified. It turned out he was a best-selling writer in the 70s, so I got excited because I'm a writer. Maybe I could get into his writing workshop. He told me that he would need to see something I've written to be sure. In response to that, I sent him an entire book. The next week, I came in and he handed me my stack of papers back to me and he said, "Look, kid, you're a genius, but you're never gonna make a fucking dime off of this." I was offended and complimented in the same breath. A compliment sandwich. How dare he? That's my move. So I asked him why, and he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, because people nowadays have the literary acuity of a 6th grader. How are they gonna read? And then he took a pause and he pointed at my manuscript. That. When most of them haven't picked up a book since high school. I went home depressed because I thought I was some great writer who was destined to go on to do great things, but the reality is that I was a pompous prick who felt that he needed to talk down to his audience. I decided that I didn't care about being successful as much as I cared about being happy and doing things that made me happy. That's how this channel started in the first place. It was a catharsis of mine to get those thoughts out of my head instead of taking up permanent residence inside my brain. If that meant I wasn't going to be a massive success, I didn't care. At least I won't have any regrets later on in life. See, my whole life changed when I watched my stepfather die from liver cancer. I asked him one day while we were smoking a joint on the patio if he had any regrets. He said, "I don't regret anything I've done. I only regret the things I haven't done." That shit hit me hard. It's why I managed to have such a weird ass life, you know, writing, indie films, fighting, stunt work, photography, game design. I had a lot of shit that I wanted to try out and very little time to do it all. And just as a funny little aside, holy shit, was I a bad director? Like, I had no fucking business thinking I could direct a film. I can't even direct people to the fucking bathroom in my house. So I guess I've been keeping those old videos around for so long for the same reason I keep my old drawing books. You know, sometimes I like to go back and have a look-see to see how far I've come, so I never get too down on myself. Because listen, this job is real tough on your mental health. I'm not digging ditches or some shit, you know, I know there's harder jobs, but when you spend over 100 hours on something you're passionate about, just to see it get middling views, it hits pretty hard. Like, in general, the response to my videos is usually very positive, but every now and then you get some real pricks out there who feel comfortable saying shit to you that they would never say to you one-on-one. And sometimes that shit could get in your head, you know? It used to happen to me a lot, and I know some YouTubers who tell me it gets under their skin. It makes you think you're terrible at this shit and you should just give it up, you know? I mean, I went into a depression spiral after that after war video. I really wanted that to be successful because I felt like people needed to know what was going on with veterans, but I just wasn't good enough to get it to the people who needed to see it. So every now and then I go back to those old videos and it keeps me motivated to keep moving forward because now I know that I'm improving somewhat over my edgelord past. I mean, for fuck's sakes, look at the name. Whenever I have to tell someone my channel's name, I get a Charlie horse in my calf muscle because I sound like a 9-year-old telling his best friend what his Fortnite handle is. The other thing that inspired this video is the idea that someone can have a correct opinion. There is no such thing, in my opinion. You see what I did there? Our opinions are informed by millions of events happening to us over a series of years. They form our opinions for us because that's how we learn, from experience. I said in my Piracy is Your Fault video that I think you have to play a game in order to like it. What I should have said was, you have to experience something before you have a chance to like it. Well, you have to experience things for yourself before you could start to have an opinion on it. And if I experienced going to Morocco by getting kidnapped immediately and taken to a basement where I was given constant wet willies and forced to make videos, if I had a horrible experience in Morocco, then I'm more likely to have a bad opinion of Morocco. That's just how opinions work. And if you went to Morocco and it was all hand jobs and champagne baths, then my opinion is going to sound like utter bullshit to you. You don't know what the fuck I'm talking about because the side of the place you experienced is the polar opposite of the one I experienced. And it doesn't just end there on the surface. You got to go deeper and explore the reasons for the reasons of you, why you are the animal that you are. For instance, while the Moroccans were giving me wet willies, I thought back to all those times in middle school when my middle school bully, Mr. Jankowski, used to stick his tongue in my ear after class. So I'm way more likely to have a bad opinion of that place because of the negative connotation of having something wet stuck in my ear orifice. Our opinion is an aggregate of all of our pain and frustrations and joy and pleasure. Oddly enough, it's actually a lot harder to have a positive opinion sometimes because it's stupidly difficult to describe something that's positive. You have to dig way deep down to figure that shit out. And even then, it's still just an opinion. Not to mention the fact that stuff like that, feelings like that, are totally fucking gay and you shouldn't have them. Sure, it's a fact that I feel the way I feel, but it never goes beyond that. Batman Arkham Asylum is not the best game ever made, despite what hacks like me will tell you. Like, I have been, for a while now, trying to figure me out, you know? Puzzle out why I am the way that I am. And it has been a very slow and painful journey. When you start picking at scabs, you get blood everywhere. But you gotta air out your feelings every now and then so that you can figure out how you actually feel. So getting mad at someone's opinion is like getting mad at someone for wanting to understand their own feelings. It's fucking troglodyte behavior. Now, to all the people that said I was spreading disinformation, please inform me of what that is. I'm being serious. If you stayed this long in the video, give me specifics of what I got wrong, and we'll talk about it below. I am more than willing to learn, but I can't figure out any of that shit if people don't tell me what I got wrong, when I got it wrong. And if you start typing out your response and find out that you're giving me your opinion on my opinion, don't erase it. Follow that thought, and maybe you'll start to learn how to love the feeling of discovering yourself too. Love ya. Bye-bye.